Here to join us on this subject and so much more, Congressman Pat Fallon is here. He represents Texas's 4th Congressional District. He's also a member of the House Oversight Committee, the all-important Oversight Committee. Congressman, great to have you back with us, sir.
Thank you. Listen, at the end of the day, Joe Biden has been lying for so long, for 50 years, he doesn't know the difference between the truth and a lie. The fact that he can sit there and try to sell that he didn't talk to or meet with any of his son's business associates is absurd, because we have photographs, Joe, of you giving tours of the White House to Miguel Magnotti and Miguel Velasco, who were two of your son's Mexican business associates. You had dinner with Vadim Pazarska from Burisma after he gave your son $3.5 million. And how about Yelena Benarina? She gave him nearly $3.5 million, and you had dinner with her too after she gave your son money. And then Kenez Rezhikev from Kazakhstan wrote your son a check for $142,300. Your son bought a Porsche the next day for $142,300. A couple months later, you had lunch or dinner rather with him as well. You've played golf with these people. You've given them tours. You had a Chinese business associate of your son where you actually wrote his daughter a letter of recommendation for college. So that's the truth. I don't know what Joe Biden's thinking. Maybe his brain's so much he doesn't know that we know all those other things already.
Well, you're right about this is his long career. His senility can't be the excuse here because he's had a long career of lying. We are like 5 minutes away from him claiming that he doesn't know who Hunter Biden is, aren't we?
Well, that may be the plan. That might have been the plan all along, is just push past the November election and then claim that you just don't remember anymore. I can't tell you. I don't know, because it's absolutely absurd.
But a lie this brazen should be eye-opening to anybody who's been watching this saga with an open mind. Because, for instance, we saw that text message that it was a WhatsApp message from Hunter Biden threatening a Chinese business associate, where he says that he and his father are going to impose consequences on him, and he's sitting there with his father. He says during all of this. Now, Biden has denied that was a legitimate threat and that he was even there. But based on the way he lies so casually, I'm kind of inclined to believe Biden was there.
Yes, you know what? This is the thing. They can prove it. If they're telling the truth, you can prove it. They choose not to. They could voluntarily give up their geolocations from their phones, from their smartphones, to prove they weren't there at that day, at that time. But they don't do that. Now, why is that? Because they were probably sitting in the room, almost definitely. And also Biden first started out, Vince, and he said, I don't know anything about what my son does. And then when that was proven false, he said on the campaign trail, well, I've never met with any of his business associates. And then, of course, the pictures and the dinners and the tours. And so he said, well, I didn't benefit from it. And now we've got direct benefits of $200,000, $40,000, and then these monthly payments from his son. So far, we'll find more, I'm sure. And they said, well, those were loans. Okay, if those were loans, Joe, then show us the check where you gave your brother $200,000. They haven't done that. Why wouldn't you? If you really just loaned somebody money, you could punch us in the face so hard by saying, see, I did loan it. It was just a loan between brothers. And the $40,000, they don't and can't do that because it never happened. Right. The money only flowed one way. It flowed into Joe's pockets. It never flowed out of Joe's pockets.
Yeah, and there's no promissory notes, no documents whatsoever to support any claim like this. Otherwise, they would have produced it a long time ago. But nothing at all. So lastly, on this subject for now, Congressman Fallon, I know that Congress is seeking, your committee is seeking testimony from Hunter Biden. He's supposed to appear next week on the 13th. And Hunter Biden's lawyers indicated this week that they're not appearing unless it's in a form of their own choosing. Only if we appear under certain conditions, it has to be public, it has to be this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you receive a subpoena from Congress, you don't get to set the own terms of your appearance, do you?
Correct. And you know what? I thought it was equal protection under the law, Vince, that was one of the pillars of our society. But if your last name is Biden, you get to dictate to the United States Congress how you're going to appear. No, this is about process. And the Democrats, and particularly Jamie Raskin Samuel, is hypocritical when he criticizes the Republicans and he says, "Oh, you've been pining for a month to have Hunter Biden on, and now he's willing to testify. You're going to come into the committee here, and you won't give him his public day in court or public day in committee." Yeah, we will. But the process begins with a deposition behind closed doors, just like when Jamie Raskin wanted to depose President Trump and his allies. He wanted to do it behind closed doors first, and then possibly have a public hearing. So if Democrats didn't have double standards, Vince, they would have no standards at all.
Yeah, as our friend Chris Plant has coined, it's an excellent point. It's just remarkable, and so here you have a standoff. And normally, what would happen here if it would be that somebody fails to appear, and even though they're required to by the subpoena, they get a contempt of Congress referral to the Justice Department. But now we've got Merrick Garland in charge of the Justice Department. What's going to happen here, Congressman Fallon?
Yeah, don't hold your breath, Vince. You might turn blue. But the whole point is we can do what we can do, and we got to force their hand, because when the legacy media turns on them, then they usually may act. Or when public opinion turns on them so badly, then they go, okay, we'll act. So I don't know what Garland's going to do. I would imagine for sure he's going to drag his feet and hope that he doesn't have to act decisively and actually do his job and administer justice. He administers what he sees as justice. Or it's more like punishment for those that disagree with him politically. But for those that agree with him politically, boy, they can get away with a lot, can't they?
Yeah.
And we've got to continue to expose it.
Yep, it's injustice for sure. Okay, let's move to the issue of the border now. We've got a lot of people still pouring across our border. We have a full-blown invasion going on. Bill Malhusian tweeting this week that there were more than 12,000 migrant encounters at the border in one day. It's the highest single-day total ever recorded. This includes 10,200 plus Border Patrol apprehensions of illegal immigrants, amongst the highest daily totals for the Border Patrol ever recorded. So the numbers continue to be completely out of control, Congressman. In Washington now, there is some debate about whether or not we are going to fix the border. What can you tell us?
It has never been worse than it is right now. We know that, as you just pointed out, the worst day in our history. We hadn't ever had a month of over 200,000 illegal border crossings until Joe Biden took office. And now we've had 17 of them. 17 months. We actually saw a $300,000 month in August, 304,000 illegal crossings. And I could go on and on. The terrorists, and let's just compare one thing real quick to give it context. Chinese nationals, a couple years ago, there were 323 Chinese nationals across our southern border illegally. Last year, 24,048. That's 74 times more. And that's not alarming to this administration. It's alarming to me. I think it's alarming to you. The terrorist watch list. We had in the first 34 months of the Trump administration, 11 people that were on the terrorist watch list, which is bad enough. And now, under Joe Biden, it was over 200 in that same period of time. So it's wide open, and if we don't address it, a Gaza-style attack is not a question of if, it is a matter of when. And we cannot sit idly by. We should be proactive and not reactive.
You know, yesterday the White House insisted, this is kind of an amazing, again, brazen talking point coming out of the White House right now. They're insisting that Joe Biden is, quote, all about border security. That's what John Kirby claimed yesterday. And I know I laughed out loud when I heard this yesterday. The other thing that they are claiming is that it's Republicans who are holding up any effort to get control of the border now. This is the effort. This is what they're saying at the White House. What do you make of this?
It's absurdity. It's so ludicrous. It's hard to even comment on it because nobody's buying what they're selling. They're not buying what he's selling about. I didn't know what my son was doing, and I never benefited from it. And they're sure as heck not buying the fact that they are trying to secure the southern border. If that's true, if you're all about border security, riddle me this: in the first 34 months of the Obama administration, there were 1.5 million illegal encounters, a little below that. And Trump administration was 1.6 million, so very comparable. Under Joe Biden, it's been 8 million. So you want to tell me that you're all about border security? How can you say that with a straight face? You can't. You're just, again, lying to suit your own purposes for you in the hopes, in the vain hopes of you winning another election come next November.
Can you give us an update on the congressional fight here? I saw some reports. I know you're not in the Senate, but there was a Senate briefing earlier this week that apparently descended into some chaos because Republicans and Mitch McConnell, to his credit, wanted to talk about border security. Meanwhile, the Democrats only wanted to talk about sending another $60 billion to one of the most corrupt countries on the planet, Ukraine. And are we going to see a legitimate border security package of any kind, or is this just all a Trojan horse where they talk about border security, but the only thing they pass is more amnesty for more illegals?
No, that's what their goal is. They want to call it more. They want to call it robust. Anytime a liberal uses the word robust, run, okay? Because they're gonna pick your pockets and your friends' pockets. So what we're trying to do, right? I applaud the Senate Republicans because they're getting this one right. We do not want to shut down the government. Having said that, we are not going to get rolled over this time. It's not going to happen. I ran for Congress and I'm serving in Congress because I was so sick of the Republicans getting, steamrolled by the liberals. So the speaker, I met with him yesterday privately, a few of us, and he assured us we are getting real border security or there's no deal. And they're trying to ignore this. So typical in their typical fashion, what the Biden administration does is if they don't get what they want, they just pick up their toys and go home. And then it'll be that week, right before government shutdown, that they're going to be scrambling because we're not passing anything unless we get border security. That's our stance. And we are united. The Republicans in the House are united on that. And so far, so are the Republicans in the Senate.
So what does that look like in practice? I mean, because I don't see the Biden administration telling the Border Patrol to blockade people from coming across. So are there things that can be changed about the law that would help that don't require the Biden administration's enforcement mechanisms? Because they're refusing to enforce current law when it comes to the border.
Well, they are. They absolutely are. So, it would be written into this deal where, you have to reinstate migrant protection protocols, like the Wait Mexico policy, for instance. We need, how about visa, overstaying your visa? There should be peace in that. If you overstay, you don't get a slap on the wrist. You get deported and you can't come back in the country for 5 years. That was what my bill did. You can't come back for 5 years, can't apply for asylum for 10, you can't get a green card for 15. Real peace in this because President Trump's policies work. It was a trickle. Now it's a flood again, and we cannot have that moving forward.
No. How about nationwide E-Verify? How about we actually verify that U.S. citizens are who we're employing or people who have the right to be here legally?
That's in H.R. 2, which is a bill that passed out of the House and, of course, died in the Senate. And that's what we are demanding right now is we want H.R. 2 to pass into law. And then we can talk about their priorities because it is about compromise. We do not have the Senate. We do not have the White House. But to be accused of we're hostage takers when we're trying to compromise, I thought that's what the liberals champion.
Yeah.
But now they've been so used to getting everything they want, compromise is hostage taking now. I didn't know that, Vince. I was unawares.
Well, everything's a lie now, it turns out. Congressman Pat Fallon, thank you very much. Always good to talk to you, and have a great day, sir.
Please take care.
All right, be well.